I understand, but the recovery question that leads to a bigger subject entirely, which is steroids.
Mm-hmm.
And Peter, I'd like to hear what you have to say because you have so many fighters.
Mm-hmm.
How big a problem do you think it is in boxing? How much of a dark, deep secret is it in boxing? Because I feel that there are probably a lot. The cheaters tend to always be ahead of the checkers, and obviously a lot of fighters have been. And boxing is different than baseball. In baseball, if you're a cheater and you hit the ball. So you hit the ball 20 feet further and you hit 30 homers instead of 15 homers. In boxing, if I'm in shape because of steroids and I was able to train harder and you weren't or didn't, well, then I could literally end your life, in rounds of a tough fight. So I question, and let's see what Peter has to say, but I question, whether it's something that should be dealt with a little more strenuously.
Yeah, I think that, being someone that manages. Literally, I have 10 active fighters right now, and all of them are enrolled in the clean boxing program in order to maintain a ranking with the WBC. All of them are subject to voluntary or what's the word I'm looking for? Random drug testing,
mm-hmm.
right? I think there's no place for performance enhancing drugs in the sport. It's all about education, because I'm going to tell you that there are so many circumstances where fighters take things that are over the counter. They get it at GNC. They order it online. They hear it's, pharmaceutical grade, but that it's, meats. It doesn't go against any of the guidelines. And, I think
you say meats as in tainted meats?
No,
I'm joking.
I see what you did there. That was good. So, but that's an example too, right? If you know that there's the potential of tainted meat in Mexico and that there could be clenbuterol in there, even the minuscule amount that was in his system, then you'd think you would stay away from it. I'm dealing with something right now. I'm not going to name the fighter who tested positive in an important fight last year, who had, when you hear failed the post-fight drug test. Well, that could mean so many things, right? Was he taking a PED? No. Was his testosterone level high, but within the limits of it being okay? Yes. But it still categorized him as a positive test.
Absolutely.
So to answer your question, I think people are always going to try.
Yeah.
I think people are always going to look for an advantage. Some people don't care because, the money at the top of the sport can be so big that I think some people are willing to take that risk. I think that if there were automatic bans from the sport, no questions asked, one strike rule, I think you'd have guys not willing to take that risk as much. Obviously I don't condone it, but I think that it's just, like in any sport, right, that we've seen guys continuously pop positive in the NFL, in Major League Baseball.
Because the money is greater and greater. Yeah.
It's just the risk reward factor. And here's the other thing. I'm going to tell you something. I hear a lot of fighters say this, and I've had a lot of conversation with a lot of former fighters, and one in particular that is a broadcaster now on ESPN, and he says, look, a lot of guys feel that they do it as a defense mechanism because everybody else is doing it, or they know this person's doing it, or they almost feel like if they're not doing it, they're putting themselves in danger. So some guys actually feel like they need to do something to have a little extra edge, but that extra edge could be so many different things. What is that really? Is it to help you make weight better? Is it to build lean muscle? Is it for endurance? Is it for strength? It's such a wide variety. I mean, you could take a supplement over the counter that you buy at GNC that has deer antler in it, and that's going to increase your testosterone level, and then you're going to pop positive.
At my age, I need deer antler. So.
Don't we all?
And another factor that a lot of fans don't realize is that it costs money to drug test. It's not, and not everybody is. Peter, you have some very, very good fighters. Not everybody is WBC rated quality. There are a lot of 6-round fighters and fighters and fighters with losing records. And to test everybody becomes cost prohibitive.
Right. Well, they might fly under the radar for a certain amount of time, but then they're going to get to the point where there's no choice. And look, we've heard about a particular fighter, only 8 division world champion, right? One of the greatest of all time, one of my favorites of all time, Manny Pacquiao. People are constantly wanting to believe that Manny somehow was on performance enhancing drugs. I mean, there was even a lawsuit against Floyd Mayweather Sr. Right, about how, and that was settled. But the point is that there are people, and he never tested. You can argue with his. I could be wrong here, but I'm off by a couple. 23 or 24 world title fights. He's never tested positive.
Right.
So what I'm saying is, people are always going to talk. Some guys are doing it. They're flying under the radar. They have it figured out. And some guys are going to test positive. I mean, look at these heavyweights. I mean, it felt like an epidemic at a certain point.
Yeah,
Sure.
I mean, Jarrell Miller popped for aisle 18 in Walgreens, so it was like everything possible there, So
Povetkin,
Dillian
White, you said Miller. Who else we're missing? I mean, there's a bunch.
Deontay Wilder had 3 opponents in a row, I think, who tested.
Yeah, 3 in a row.